Yeah, appreciate everybody being here. I think just first of all, want to hit on our on the field coaches, assistant coaches. First Brian Brown, associate head coach, defensive coordinator, who came over right in December. That we're trying to get him over here early, so we got him here. Coach Brown has been with me since 2012, which is in this business that's hard to accomplish, I think. He's had many opportunities over the years, but fortunate for me, he's been able to stick with me. Some of his things his defense has been able to do is tremendous last year. Well, first of all, what we took over at Louisville defensively was not very good at all. You can go back and look at those stats, but and what we finished up last year at Louisville, led the country in sacks, takeaways, top 25 in many categories. So tremendous job in the turnaround defensively there, and exciting brand of football. So really pleased to have Coach Brown with us. Tom Manning is one of the guys that I talked to early in the process as soon as I got hired. Obviously from the state of Ohio, he's from Youngstown. A lot of pride in this state and really knows the state well. I first met him when he was a GA at Toledo in 2009. Very impressed by him at that stage in his career, and then really just kind of followed him. And we've talked over the years, since the place he's been, Iowa State, Indianapolis Colts, and then of course at Toledo. But does a tremendous job. Ran some of the best offenses in Iowa State history if you go back and look. Brock Purdy's a quarterback they had that did a tremendous job, won a ton of games there. And the fact that he's been in the Big 12 was another key ingredient I thought that we needed to get for this staff. So bringing him on board here is really going to be an asset for us. Coach Kerry Coombs, we've talked about, it's huge for me to be able to keep him Cincinnati through and through, and brings a great deal of experience for our program here. Coach Cardwell was a guy I actually recruited out of high school many years ago, I think 2003 actually. And so I've seen him throughout his whole career, does a tremendous job, tremendous amount of passion. And you guys will see some of that throughout the course of our tenure here. Coach Gasparotto was our outside linebackers. He's coached safeties. He's coached many positions defensively, knows our defense inside and out, has recruited in this area as well. So thought that was important to get him here. Coach Nick, Coach Derek Nicholson, our inside linebacker coach, does a great job. A lot of passion, a lot of juice, a lot of energy. Has tutored many great players for us over the last few years. Coach Darrell Sims, running back coach, has been with me a couple years now, but followed his career. Has done an outstanding job as well, mentoring the running backs. Coach Stepp, coaching our wide receivers last year for us at Louisville, coached our tight ends. Has been a head high school coach in South Carolina for many years. Has done a tremendous job. He's a relationship guy, great recruiter. I'm really excited about getting Coach Stepp here to coach our wideouts. Coach Stewart, coaching D-line. Played here. That was important for me to have a guy who's blood, sweat, and tears in this program. I think he finished in 2012 here at Cincinnati, and so it's very important for me to be able to keep him as well. And Coach Thomas has been with me for many years now, coaching the quarterbacks, knows our offense very well, very smart, outstanding young coach in my opinion. I think has a really bright future. And I think so. Those are our 10 guys on the field guys, and of course, we've added many others within our building, but really want to emphasize those guys.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, you invested a lot, announced a few personnel, recruiting department. So when you're building this out, what was your goal, and how do you balance on field, off field, and what you want to do there?
Yeah, I think it's certainly important to grow our recruiting department. We know how this day and age of how the portal is working, and so I mentioned this early in December. You got to recruit your team, you got to recruit high school players, you got to recruit the portal, and so it's very important to be able to get people in here that's going to be able to do that. Zach Grant is our GM now and was at Ohio State the last year, but prior to that was at Western Kentucky. And I think you look at his body of work, what he's been able to accomplish, really a great evaluator. And that's what we need. I mean, we have to have that. He's very organized. He's got a good plan that we're going to put forward here in the recruiting department, and the people that he's brought with him, as well. Jack Griffith was at the New York Jets last year. He's got a very smart guy and really is a great evaluator. And that's, again, what we need. Cass Simmons, again, another guy that they brought down with them from Ohio State. Caroline Tart was with us at Louisville. She was at Oklahoma for 3 years prior to that as the on-campus recruiter, and so she's done a tremendous job with us at Louisville. So I think having been with her, that was good to get her over here as well. Kind of knows what we like there, but within that, and we'll continue to grow that. You have to have as many people in that department as you can for these evaluations. They will set all the things up for our coaches as we start looking at 2024, 2025 recruiting, but a huge emphasis in the city of Cincinnati and within 300 miles. I think that's a huge emphasis on that. And we got to continue to be able to do that. We're actually going out on the road Friday. It opens back up. We're blitzing the city. I mean, we're sending everybody out within 50 miles right here and hit as many high schools as we can hit on Friday. Because for us, it's going to start right here in our backyard. So we got to continue to get great relationships with that and continue to grow that out.
It's been a busy morning with some of your announcements already, so your staff are already showing their worth. I mean, did it help having a blowout last night where by the first quarter you could have all these announcements set?
Yeah, I don't know if last night had anything to do with it, but these guys have been working their tails off, I think, since December, and then really in the last week was an unbelievable job. I think we're 12 or 13 guys that we've been able to get out of the portal, and we're still not finished. Hopefully we'll be able to announce a couple more here by the end of the week. And I think it's extremely important right now to bring guys in that can help compete right away, and that's what we're doing when we're looking at bringing these guys in. And really, it's important to bring them in now too, because we can go through spring practice. I mean, that's going to be huge for to be able to go through spring practice, teach them our stuff. Then they're going to have all summer, and then in the fall. But having said that, we'll probably end up bringing a few more at the end of the semester. As we head into the summer. So it never ends. It's going to continue to go, and so recruiting never is going to stop.
What Cincinnati high schools are on your list that you're hitting this weekend?
All of them. I mean, we're hitting every one of them, and not only Cincinnati, but probably within 50 miles. So you got to think we got 10 full-time staff members, myself, so there's 11 people so we're hitting everything. So anywhere from probably 8 to 12 schools per coach. So that's a lot of schools we're going to be able to hit within that one day. And then the next week we'll continue to hit out in Ohio. I mean, we're going to expand that for the next week, and then probably the following week is when we'll branch out throughout the country and hit some spots of guys that we've already been recruiting prior, and just continue those relationships.
You obviously brought a lot of Louisville guys with you. Aside from the familiarity, why did you feel that was kind of the best way to build out this on-field staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this day and age, in this profession, you obviously have to have guys that you trust, that know what we're trying to do. The thing that happened to us last year at Louisville is the hardest schedule in the history of Louisville, arguably. 9 teams were ranked. I saw a stat today. I think it was 6 teams that had 8 or more wins that we beat last year. We started out 2-3. All right, and so. If you didn't have a staff that was connected, that believed in each other, that trusted each other, it would have been hard to win 6 out of the last 8 games. And so, the piece there that we have, the trust, the accountability within each other, I think was extremely important to me to be able to bring that here. And I think as you look at the people that we've been able to hire, it also speaks to they like the way we run the program, and they like to be in a part of that. And so, a lot of these guys they got opportunity. I mean, they had opportunity to go other places. Some stay at Louisville or go other places, and so to be able to come here and continue the things that we've been doing together, I think speaks volumes. But also for me, it's a great thing to be able to have the same people that already know how we operate and not have to teach new things. But I also like the fact that we do have some new guys here. We got some new people that bring new blood, new ideas, and I think that's important as well.
Some of the NIL numbers right now are being reported astronomical. What is your new staff's philosophy at a new school when it comes to NIL and recruiting?
Well, yeah, it's a big piece. I mean, you have to be involved with it. But it does come down to dollars. Some schools have a lot more dollars than others, and so you got to try to get the best player that you can possibly get for however much NIL money you have. And so as you look at some schools, Ohio State, for example, not far from here, but they probably got a lot more money to put out for NIL opportunities than maybe we do. So I think, but it still comes down to relationships, still comes down to philosophies, and we got a lot of great things to sell here, outside the NIL opportunities. But we certainly have to. You have to have those opportunities as well, or you're not really getting these guys. And particularly as you think about certain positions, quarterbacks, and I've seen some numbers get thrown out there. I don't know if they're true or not. I probably somewhere in the middle of it, is probably some legitimacy there. So, it's hard too, because as you're going out recruiting and talking, you don't really know what to believe and what not to believe, but you kind of have your philosophy. You got to stick to it and hopefully get some great players in here. I think for me in recruiting, because we've all seen it, there's guys that may be coming out, were not heavily recruited, but they were great players. So much of it is what when you rip open the chest, like what's there, what's inside of that. That is so hard to see. It's hard to evaluate. It's hard to really find out that. And they've had some great players at Cincinnati over the years that had the right stuff about them, and maybe got overlooked or whatever reason out of high school. And so for us, we got to continue to try to find those guys. I think that's going to be huge.
Finding that diamond in the rough is obviously ideal. However, talent's talent, and only because you brought them up, Ohio State, you would imagine, has more money. How do you compete against the likes of some blue blood programs when it comes to recruiting when they could offer more money?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. There's no other way around it. But you got to sell what you can sell, and which is the relationship piece, the offense or defense, what you're kind of doing, opportunity to play right here. Maybe it's closer to home. Whatever that is, we got to try to find it and tap into that. But if it comes straight down to dollars and you're looking for short-term money, and I think that some people are, then we're probably not getting them. But if you're looking for long-term money, an opportunity to get developed and to actually play, I think, and then showcase your talent, and for us now in the Big 12, then that long money is really what you're after. And so I think that's one of the things that we're kind of selling. Hey, listen, you can potentially go to maybe Ohio State or some of those type schools and maybe not play as much or not play at all early, or you can have an opportunity to come here and play, pretty quickly, and really showcase your talent. So those are some things that we may sell.
Window to enter the transfer portal is through the 18th. How do you feel about the current players on the roster and being able to retain them through the next week plus or so?
Yeah, I hope we do. We had a meeting Sunday, had a team meeting, and the guys are this week, getting acclimated into lifting and doing some football stuff. But I hope we'll keep these guys, and I think we will. I think they want to see how this spring works out, and then again there'll be another window at the end of this semester to see how it all shakes out. I think we're excited about working with our guys. We're excited about getting in here and meeting with them and going over our stuff. A lot of coaches have already. These guys have been up. Hey, let's get going. Let's start learning. And so we're excited about that. And I think that's going to happen. It's been a long break for these guys. If you think about it, they're used to playing a little bit later bowl games, and they haven't done anything in a while. The 17th was the last time they were here and played, and now we're sitting here almost the middle of January. So getting back in the swing of things, they're excited about it, excited about learning from our coaches, and excited about really doing some football again. And so I think feel good about the guys that be able to stick it out.
Is it stressful, exhilarating? You got to recruit the guys that are here. You got to recruit some new guys. Come March, April, after spring ball, you might have more openings and all that. It never ends.
No, it doesn't ever end. It's it's stressful. I read some quotes from the two coaches that were coaching in the game last night about how they're trying to prep for a national championship, and they got 6 transfers in on official visits during that time. That's extremely difficult. There's not really any time anymore where coaches can relax. We're constantly recruiting. You're constantly, even when we're here, we're coaching our guys, and really, you have to maintain these guys here and make them feel good about your program and what you're doing. Same time, recruit. It just doesn't stop. And I think there is going to be a dead period in February where us coaches are really looking forward to that, to where you're not out recruiting, nobody's going to be here, coming to visit, and you're focused on your team. I'm excited about that period, which is in February, and then we'll start practice in March, and I think obviously that's you know, we're coaching football, but that's rarely what you do. I feel like we do everything else as coaches except for coach football. So I can't wait for March to get here so we can actually get on the field and coach some ball.
You mentioned the offensive line was something you guys were going to be looking
Yeah.
to add. You add guys like Philip Wilder, Corey Bullock. Just talk about what those two guys bring to the table.
Yeah, you know, and Luke Kandra, you know, that we got over from Louisville. I mean, it's yeah, we're just trying to create some guys in here, bring some guys in here that can play right away and hopefully can play now, and then also get them here this spring, because that'll be huge to go through spring practice with them and, you know, working on techniques, working on the different things we have to offensively. But yeah, I mean, we lost a lot of guys up front, and you know, having to replace those guys, it's very hard to replace them with true freshmen. That's more of a developmental position, and so now trying to bring some guys that have played in here, and we'll continue to look for that. You know, again, we'll get a good gauge this spring to kind of see where we are, to see if we do need to bring anybody else at the end of the semester at that position. But there's 5 guys that are on the field every time, and so to me, you want at least 7 or 8 that can rotate and play when you get into the fall, particularly if you get some injuries or that type of thing in that position. I mean, that is certainly a position of need for us.
Historically, you've called offensive plays. Is that your plan this season, and then how will that kind of work with Coach Manning?
Yeah, I mean, I plan on calling the plays, you know, but I think some people make a big deal out of that maybe more than they need to. My whole career calling plays has been very collaborative. We're the offensive staff, and I want ownership by everybody in that room. So everybody has input with what we're doing offensively. You know, you got ideas from all. At the end of the day, when we walk out of the room, here's what we're doing. And then throughout the game, I mean, we all talk. We sit there and talk about it, and then I'm just going to be the one who puts out the last play when we actually run it. But we all feel good about it. And the thing about the way I like to run a program is that you throw the egos out the window, and we're all in this thing together as a team, but particularly as an offense. And you know, the plays that we're going to run, everybody feels good about those plays. And so, but I'll call the plays, but Manning will have strong input, as will Pete Thomas, as will Nick Cardwell, you know, all the guys, Coach Stepp. So we all have big input in that, and hopefully we'll put together a good product that'll score a lot of points.
It's probably too early, but any of these guys that are coming in now, or do you see some of these guys that's just jumping in right away? These are going to be first teamers. I mean, the kicker looks pretty good.
Yeah, he does. I'm excited about, you know, seeing what he can do, and particularly because he's young. He's a young player, you know, and he's played in 11, 14, and out there at Arizona State. So he's got a big leg. He made a 54-yarder last year, and so yeah, when you bring in the guys like that have experience, that have played, we're anticipating them playing. So I mean, you know, how much and all that, I mean, it remains to be seen. It's going to be a great competition. You know, you bring these guys in with the guys that we have on the team. Let's get on the field and let's see who's going to get that starting role. You know, I think for me, hopefully we can create some depth. We can create some competition at every position to where, you know, guys are battling to continue to elevate their game. At the end of the day, the best player will play.
You brought up with Coach Manning 2 of the main points where he's coached in the Big 12 and that he has a track record recruiting in Ohio. What else were you looking for being an offensive-minded guy, an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody to bring in a little bit, some ideas that maybe we haven't been doing, you know, and I think for him, you know, he spent a year at the Indianapolis Colts. I think he learned a lot when he was in the NFL that year, particularly in concepts in throwing the football. I feel really good about our run game. We've been running the football as good as anybody in the country over the years. But for me to bring in a guy who's got a great understanding of concepts and how to get the ball to players. When he was at Iowa State, did an unbelievable job with their tight ends there, of being able to get them to football. We've had great tight ends here historically, so I think that'll be a big piece in what we're trying to do. But on top of the 2 things you mentioned, it was really more concepts, throw game, things we can do in the throw game. I think that'll help us. So those three things I think are really is what I was looking for.
Final question.
I know the numbers can always be fluid, but do you anticipate adding any more here in the transfer portal in the next few days? And maybe what about the later signing day for February for high school?
Yeah, I think we will potentially add, you know, 2 or 3 more in the next couple of days. You know, and then I certainly think we will add some more at the end of the semester as well. Obviously, you got to look at the numbers and all that, and kind of work positions of need. We'll have a better idea as coaches throughout the spring, you know, and see where we're at with it. You know, and as we go out recruiting the next couple of weeks, and then as we head into the spring evaluation recruiting period, which mainly that's going to be high school players, 2024, 2025, but all the while knowing that this next window will come up, and we'll see what's in the portal when that happens. I anticipate guys going through spring practice throughout the country, seeing where they're at, and seeing, hey, how many want to try to go somewhere else? You know, and it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. I know we've had maybe the most portal guys we've ever seen in December and this time right now, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think it'll be as many, obviously, in May, but there certainly will be some really good players when that time comes.
Thank you,
All
Coach.
right.
Thanks, Coach.